It's amazing that you two sort of are working in like the Middle Eastern mythology. I mean, what is that? I mean, because you are literally the only people who are actually doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So do you intend to keep sticking in that area, or are you going to branch out and do sort of Western stuff? Or is it a case of you want to use, the myths, that you're used to?
Well, every religion, every people, every country has its own mythology, and there's the known mythologies, the Nord mythology, the Vikings, and the Egypt mythology, and so many mythologies that most people, and we saw quite a lot on cinema, but the Jewish dark mythology wasn't really touched, and when we did Jerusalem 3 years ago, we were here in FrightFest. It was amazing. Doing Jerusalem 3 years ago, zombies in the whole city in Jerusalem, with all the religion going around. It blew our mind when we did the research and we went deeper and deeper to the dark side of the Bible and the holy stories. And then we understood that there's so many things that haven't been really touched. And so when we wanted to do our next film, we did the research and we thought maybe about doing the D-Book, which is kind of the Jewish exorcist and all kind of other dark stories. And then we said, hey, there's the Golem, which is actually the Jewish Frankenstein. It was way before the original, the well-known Frankenstein. And it's an amazing story that's been told from father to son through all generations. And there's the known story is the Golem from Prague, but there's a lot of other golems throughout that is written in the old books. And then we said, okay, come on, it's time to make a new Golem film, because the last time that someone did a Golem film was 100 years ago. And it's unbelievable that for 100 years, no one touched the Golem story, not for real. It was some in television, and it was maybe some here and some there, but not as a whole feature film, not as long as we know.
Because I was going to ask you that, because I mean, it is from the silent period. Like for some reason, they were doing like one every 5 years. Paul Wegener's is the most famous one. Right. I mean, so it's strange how, you're right, it sort of has tended to be forgotten. I remember, Dario Argento was actually going to produce a Golem one in the 80s, but that sort of fell by the wayside. And I just wondered if it's because people thought it was still quite, a contentious subject.
Interesting question. We don't really know. We know it's like not a lot of people are tending to deal with this dark side and the Kabbalah. And we are not Jewish. We're Jewish. We're not Orthodox. We're not practicing Judaism. We're just traditional holidays. But along with our screenwriter Ariel Cohen and the producer Shalom Eisenbach, who is ex-hardcore Orthodox. So it was a good combination for us to deal with it in a different way. At least we think. We're coming from a storytelling point of view, very cinematic, you could say a bit Western approach, and they came with all the deep mythology, and it blew our mind to start researching and working together. Because there's a recipe in the Kabbalah how to make a golem, a true recipe, 100 years old, hundreds of years old, how you can build a golem, like if you do the right recipe and right spells, and right stuff.
Did you try it?
Not yet.
Are you going to?
Yeah, after the show, after the premiere.
Exactly.
But it's really like a creature it's a superhero, a Jewish superhero. And for us, it's like...
Because what's interesting about it is because, it's like, it serves as subtext for a lot of, you can put so much meaning into the Golem throughout every period. And now, of course, it seems even more relevant than ever. So it is surprising that people haven't touched it again, before, since then, because you can put so much, symbolism on it.
Yeah,
exactly.
For us, it's very up to date also. Although it's a periodical piece, we still think it's very up to date, and the subject it's dealing, it's universal and it's timeless, because it's always dealing with the same question and foreigners and nationality and religious and all
the Me Too movement.
It's the protagonist is a woman, so for us it was very challenging, and we always like to deal with women, with female characters. It's much more complex for us and much more challenging, and to see a woman struggling for her right to study Torah and Kabbalah and practice it.
You do go against the grain though, because it isn't your traditional Golem either, is it? I mean, you were expecting, as you say, the hulking Frankenstein, but you go completely in a different direction with that.
We started the film with a traditional Golem creature, and then we went to our own twisted story. we wanted to make our own Golem story that deals with the same motives, but to be different. Same thing, but different.
For me, one of the reasons why the film works so well is Hannah Furstenberg. I mean, she's brilliant in it, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, her performance is quite something, I thought. I mean, in the real world, she'd earn, Oscars for it. I thought she was so great. So how did you get hold of her?
Wow.
It's an interesting question because Israel is a very small industry, all the directors know all the actors. It's a very small industry. But she was like, as a younger age, she was a really big star. And then she moved to New York and she's still working there in Broadway. She worked in a lot of places, but she was officially for us out of the radar a bit.
Yeah.
Just, far from sight, far from, how do you say? That's the sentence? Anyway, she was not in our radar, but then she was visiting Israel. We were starting to cast, and she was visiting Israel. I think Yoav met her or something?
No, we wanted to meet her. We set an appointment, and like 2 hours before the appointment, she ditched us. And then we said, of course, fuck her, and we will find someone else. But then someone was in the back of my mind, like, she's the right one. I always had that feeling. So like I swallowed my dignity, and I called her again. It's usually that's something, it hurts when someone like ditch you 2 hours before the meeting. And afterward, she told us that she heard it's a horror film, it's not exactly her genre. She was too afraid to go into this kind of stuff. But when we started working on this film, she said, wow, it's amazing. And she had the best time ever shooting this film.
Always the same, isn't it? They get completely the wrong idea of what somebody like you are trying to do with this.
Exactly.
Incredible.
Because her agent just told her it's a horror film. She had horror film. That's it for her. And hopefully it's gonna change sometime.
I hope so. I mean, because as I said, I think she really knocks it out of the park. She's really brilliant in it, I think. Yeah. Where did you film? I mean, it looks like pretty sparse and bleak. Did you build?
A lot of it. We shot in the Ukraine, far away from anywhere, like 2 hours drive from Kiev. And it was an amazing sight, an amazing scenery. Like the sunset art takes like 3 hours there. You have like 3 hours of magic time, which is amazing.
In Israel, it's very hard to shoot a Western. We wanted it to be a Jewish Western in a way. And it's very hard in Israel. The scenery is mostly the same. The sun is very hard. And we found this location in the Ukraine and just built it in the middle of the forest, in the field, just like a shtetl, which is an old Jewish town. And we've built it and we renovated it and we built this world around in the Ukraine. It was an amazing experience.
It was, and you got it ready so quickly for us. I mean, I'm so pleased. I mean, really, I feel like it's like fresh out of the lab.
It is.
I can't explain how excited we are. We're like an hour from the premiere. And the only people who really saw the finished copy of the movie is our parents, which obviously liked it, but they always think we're talented. It's not a big deal. And nobody really, now for the first time, in less than an hour, we're going to see hundreds of people experiencing our movie for the first time. So, and we don't know how, we're just waiting to see the reactions.